Good afternoon, and thank you for joining our Boss Solutions webinar that is being held in conjunction with NADITA. I am Julie Wyatt on the Business Development Team at Boss Solutions. What we will cover in the next hour: integrating help desk software can increase efficiency in your organization, how to easily customize service requests, also how to help desk software can be used to streamline service requests for your organization. We'll answer all questions and select the winner of the gift card drawing. Today's presenters: Gayle Dryden, Director, Information Technology at Holt of California; Kyle Hartman, Help Desk Support Lead at Holt of California; and Chris Giroux, Director of Support at Boss Solutions. A few quick notes. Everyone will be muted during the webinar. Submit questions during the webinar in the question window. Our panel will answer all questions at the end of the webinar, and the webinar is being recorded and will be sent to all participants. We'll send a survey out after the webinar and appreciate your feedback. Boss Solutions at a glance. Boss Solutions has over 25 years experience in IT service management. Our award-winning solutions: Boss Desk, ITIL Service Desk on the cloud; Boss Support Central, ITSM on-premise; and Boss 811, one-call ticket management solution for the damage prevention industry. Boss Solutions exceeds industry standards with its award-winning software, being named as an industry frontrunner 3 years in a row and being known and recognized for its excellent customer support. Today's feature presentation: Holt improves efficiency by integrating help desk software and bots, with Gayle Dryden and Kyle Hartman. And now, what you've been waiting for, I'll turn it over to Kyle and Gayle.
Good morning, everyone. This is Gayle Dryden with Holt of California. We have been a Caterpillar dealer business since 1931. We have approximately 800 employees. We're made up of 3 companies: Holt of California, which is a Caterpillar dealership for Northern California, Central Territory; SciTech West, which is our dealer and factory direct store for Trimble; and Holt Ag Solutions, which is our agricultural territory for the entire state of Oregon and most of California. Our relationship with Boss is we've been using the help desk product since 2004. We recently upgraded the first part of last year in 2019 to their new Support Central, which was a complete brand new overlay of what they had in the past. What prompted us to modernize our service delivery and support system, part of that was upgrading the new system. We found that it had a very user-friendly interface, which is what we were looking for: ability to capture dashboard and metric results. And the ability long-term, which we have just recently built a scorecard off of, which we can use for our help desk coordinators. Ease to set up unique help desk for other departments in the organization, and which we have 2 other departments right now that are using the product, our maintenance department and our accounting department, and we see other departments utilizing this product as well. And then the fact that it has a new light on the knowledge base, and again, we're finding more and more we need to get the employees to take care of themselves, that self-serve kind of scenario, and so we have a lot of employees engaging in our knowledge base. The asset management piece, we like the fact that it integrates with the manufacturers for warranty control, so we can determine when to do life cycle management for equipment. We also recently integrated the product with bot technology. We did that with our pre-employment and our provisioning for new employees, which is what Kyle's going to show you here in a minute. And then we recently did something that was very cool that we're pretty proud of. We had an app developed, a Fix-It app for our technicians. And so our technicians in the field, we call it 15 minutes to touch on a ticket. So they actually scan a barcode on their device with their mobile device, and it automatically puts a ticket in, and then we respond back to them in 15 minutes, and they get notification that their problem is being worked on. So again, offering a better customer experience, and so far this product has done that for us.
All right, thank you, Gayle. I'm going to go ahead and take over. So today, like previously mentioned, going to be going over our service catalog and how it entails the use of Support Central and bots. Primary use we use for that is our accounts and access, which is for our employee access for any new employees who are going to be starting with the company. They require a lot of access and things lined up to get them going before they start on their first day. It's kind of been a long process for us in the department to create that access, and so we've kind of been using Bot Support Central and the bots to kind of save some time, and so that we aren't having to waste as much time getting this all done, and then it gets done properly, and that there's no mistakes because the bot's essentially doing this. So I'll dive right into it. So to start off, we'll be going over the accounts and access. Once we get into the service, once we click that button and get to our service catalog, we'll then be getting to our actual categories for what the employee will be using to submit. So to start off the process, it always starts with the pre-employee email, which is always submitted by HR. We have this specific category set up so that only HR can submit the ticket request. They are technicians within the system, so and we have it set so that they can only see it, along with IT, of course, but HR sees it so that they can submit it. And so once they hit that request button, it will take them into the pre-employment ticket where they will need to fill out all the appropriate information. Now, HR usually gets this information from the manager who is hiring the employee. The manager interviews them, all that process, and then they get the required information, send it to HR. HR compiles all that, and then begins the process of filling this form out, which, as you can see by the red star, is all the at least required information that we need to get them in the system and ready for the bot to do its part. There's a few information that's not necessarily needed right off the bat. That's why it's not required, but it's there if they have it, so that it helps us out in the future. So once the HR has filled out this form, they'll hit request, which will then generate the ticket, which, as you can see here, is how it'll look in our system. Once we get into the ticket, this is how it'll look. With all the information filled out, we can then go in and view this from Bot Support Central and make sure everything's correct. If there's any mistakes, we can resubmit it and fix any typos or anything like that. Now, once the ticket is submitted, we have a routing rule, which is one of the functions of BOSS. It will then email the ticket off to where it needs to go. So we tell the system where to send it. So we have the conditions of this is a pre-employment email, so then follow these actions, which you can see at the bottom, which includes signing the technician, emailing it to the bot, and then adding any other details like the category or priority. So all of our pre-employment emails are set to 1-day priority because this needs to be done right away. So that way, if it goes past the 1 day and it's not completed, we'll get an overdue notification and can take care of it right away. So once it sends off the email from the pre-employment, this is what it looks like. This is what the bot will see when it gets it in its inbox. I've blanked out the information so that nobody's personal information is out there. But yeah, it's basically the same type of information. It's in the ticket, just in a text-readable form for the bot. The bot gets this, does its process, which we've basically created instructions for it to follow for each type of thing it needs to do. So it'll take that first name, last name, take the job title, manager, company info, and take all that and do its part. And then so pre-employment bot runs every day at 8 a.m. So as long as the ticket's put in before 8 or any time after that, it'll get run at least the next day. So it's within that 1 day goal that we set with the priority. So this is what the pre-employment bot is doing. It looks up last name and Cornerstone, adds the user, and then creates the email address. And then it does different functions based on if it's a rehire within a certain amount of time or if the rehire's been past that time. And then it looks up manager and email and AD, sends the email to the manager, and then also sends it to HR as well. We still have a couple other processes in development. But the key thing was sending the email of the new employee to the manager, as the manager will need that to put in the employee access ticket, which we'll be going over right here. So back to that accounts and access category, you'll see that we are going to go ahead and submit a employee access for Holt of California. As Gayle mentioned earlier, we do have several other companies, SiteTech and Holt Ags. They have their own employee access tickets with kind of the same information, but different requests for different software or accounts to different sites because just their companies are slightly different, and so they have to get access to various things. But we're going to be primarily looking at the Holt of California one because this one has the most access that is needed for an HOC employee. So once we get in, we can see this is kind of the first part of what the manager will see, or supervisor, whoever's submitting the ticket. They'll have to fill out the basic info. Again, the important stuff is marked with a red star because it's required. This form cannot be submitted without this being filled out. So once this is all filled out, you then will move on to kind of getting the marking the access they need. So we use a variety of different the functions that BOSS gives us, which is like checkboxes, drop downs. There's some fields where they can type in the information manually if need be, but we try to make it as simple for the user who's submitting the ticket as possible. Make sure it's not as many mistakes. If we can give them the options, there's no typos or anything like that. So the manager will fill this form out, select the kind of access they will need, and then go to the last part of the ticket, which is towards the bottom. There's a couple areas where they need to fill out the company assets. So these are links that go to some external sites. Some of these actually go to other help desk tickets in the system that they can then fill out and get the access for those things that they are needed. And then they can also enter any additional comments. So maybe there's something that IT will need to know that's not necessarily fillable in the form, and then they can leave that there so that we can take care of that if there's anything additional. So once they hit request, again, like the pre-employment, this is how it looks in the system. We're able to see all the information and view that all on this one ticket. It allows us to see everything that they've selected. You know, if the checkboxes come in as true or false, false if it was left blank, true if it was, if it's needed. This is a test ticket I threw in the system just to show off what it looks like and how, you know, what the information will look like in the system. And so then, same as the pre-employment, we have a routing rule that then emails this off to the accounting bot. This one's a little different than pre-employment because we're not just the employee access form is not only just used for new employees, it also is used for our consultants, and there's a few other uses it has. So we don't want the employee access ticket just to be always sent to the bot, because then the bot will just try to create access for anything that just comes in. So we've told it to look only for if the security request was a new employee or a temp employee. Once that's done, then the routing rule knows, okay, this needs to be sent over to the accounting bot, and it will then email it with another similar email to the pre-employment with the same kind of format where it's just plain text so that the bot can read it and parse through its information. So once this email has been sent to the bot, it'll, you know, can do something similar to the pre-employment where it will parse the information and sort it out and then do its part of the job. So with the employee access bot, right now it just runs Wednesday through Friday at 4. This is kind of the requirement we set so that our employees always usually start on Mondays, so that if the employee access ticket is put in at least before Wednesday, it'll start running and start doing its thing so that we can start getting prepped for it. Because there are still some manual pieces that need to be done before the employee starts. So that's why we have this bot only run a certain days of the week. So as you can see, right now the bot is doing provisioning 1, which is just some of the first level account access that it needs to get done. This is what we started a while back, and it's officially done. And so when the bot does its part, this is what it's doing. Yeah, there's still some parts of provision 1 that's in development, but a good chunk of it's done. And then this is what the bot's saving us time on. A lot of this access takes time to create, and now the bot's saving us time and manpower to get this done. And there is still second level access that is still being worked on. All of this is still in development. This will be more of what the bot's doing so that, you know, again, we'll save, you know, more time, more manpower. We're not having to put as much effort into the employee access because it's just there's a lot that needs to be created for them. So, you know, over the next few months, we'll be getting these all in the system and have the bot doing so that it can do its part and do this all correctly. So that's kind of it for how we use the help desk system and the bots. All of our bots kind of just work with accounts and access, but I'll also just be going over the rest of our service catalog so you can see the other types of uses we have for Support Central. But going forward, there won't be any more uses for the bot in the system. So the second part of the help desk system we use for is the service desk, which is for my department, the information technology. So within this catalog, we have several categories that an employee can choose from if they need assistance. We really try to condense this down to as few options as possible because we really want employees to kind of just take a look at the screen, find what best suits their needs, and have a quick response to it so that they can just quickly look at the screen and go, oh, I'm having software issues. There's the software button. That's what I need to click. And software is one of the most requested categories, so we'll take a look at that in here in a second. But one thing I want to point out is that we also use the IT service desk for more than just our department. We use this to actually send emails to our vendors as well. So if somebody's having a printer issue or phone issue, those actually get routed using the same type of routing rules we use for the employee access ticket to send tickets to our vendors. And then that information gets emailed to them, and they're able to see who submitted the request and how to contact them and what's going on so that they can contact that employee and kind of, you know, leave us, you know, a little out of the picture so that, you know, we're not having to be the middleman. It just goes straight to them. But we're going to take a look into our software ticket here. So within the software ticket, we just have a couple fields. Again, we're trying to keep it as simple as possible. We don't want anything too complicated because then the employee is just not going to use it, or they're going to find another way to get what they need done. So this one just has a few drop downs where they can select the type of software support or request that they need. They can add attachments for some pictures if they have a picture of what exactly is the problem. It'll help us out if there's an error on the screen. Instead of the employee describing it to us, they can just click that. They can just add the picture, and it'll help us out. And then they just give a brief subject and description. The subject is used in the title so that we can kind of get a better understanding of what it is instead of just it's a software issue. We'll have some actual type of knowing what's happening with that subject. And then once we get in the ticket, the description's there for more of an explanation so that the employee can give us. And once this ticket's submitted, we will get all the info about who's requesting it and all the contact information so we can either email them or call them and have more ways of getting a hold of them. So I'm going to move back to the service catalog and kind of go over our safety maintenance tickets. So these ones are primarily maintained by our maintenance team. We've created the tickets for them, and we make any updates or changes that they want. But these tickets all get assigned to them, and they work their own tickets. They know how to use the system. We've trained them on it, and so they know how to get into the system, get to their tickets, things like that. They also primarily, instead of using the desktop client, they actually use the application that Boss has so that they can view their tickets on their phone, because a lot of them go from store to store and are on the go, and they don't really hop onto laptops or computers to look at their tickets. So we'll take a peek at what they have. So they have a few options here. Like I said, all these were what they requested for and we created from. So we'll take a look at one of the tickets just to kind of see some different viewpoints of what exactly they use it for. So take a look at their conference room setup. So this ticket is mainly used so that if a employee is doing a meeting in a conference room, they can select the furniture layout, because depending on the size of the room, depending on how many people they have in it, they're going to need a different layout. And so once they get into this ticket, they can view the different types of layout, and then they use that drop down to select the layout that they need. And then this ticket, of course, after they hit request, it gets sent out, maintenance sees it, and then they can also see what they selected so they can set up the room according to how the employee wants it. So now we're going to take a look at the accounting service catalog. So accounting actually was just recently added to our help desk system. They requested this about a few months ago. The main reason they wanted to get in on the help desk system is to kind of keep track of things that are going on within their department. They've had one of their biggest issues before being in the help desk was that there was really no way to track anything they were doing. I mean, a lot of what they were trying to accomplish was through emails. So they would have email chains going between different employees. They would get lost in the shuffle, not sure who's taking on this particular task. So it would cause a lot of issues within the department of who's working on what, how do we keep track of it. So they came to us and asked if they could get put into the help desk system so that they have a way of keeping track of the requests they get. So we worked with them to get the categories that they need, which we'll see here in a second. They started off with just a few. This is all just inter-department for them. This is not shared with any other employees, just accounting has access to these to make requests. They wanted to kind of test this internally before they open it up to the rest of the company because they want to see how it works, if it will actually serve their needs, and other things they wanted to try out. So once we got these created, they've been testing out now, and we'll take a look at one of the tickets they have. So their fixed assets maintenance ticket just kind of has some basic information, nothing too fancy. Again, just the same thing. They have the required info in the red star, can add attachment for any kind of pictures that anybody's going to be, that needs to add, and then a basic subject and description. So once this is opened up to the rest of the company, normal employees will be filling this out. So they kind of wanted to have this already set for that. In the future, they might have us add a few more things to get that ready, but this is what they have for now. And so that's kind of it for our service catalog. We've had some interest from other departments on if they want to get put into the help desk system. We've kind of created some test tickets, and so we're still waiting for some feedback from them on if they really want to go through with it. But that's all I have really for now, so I'll hand it over to Chris.
Excellent, Kyle. Excellent presentation. We appreciate you sharing your inner workings there that you guys are working with there. Gayle, thanks for sharing all that with us today. We really do appreciate it. I'm sure that that's opened up some eyes of some current customers that I see are on this call, and some other people that are joining this call. So now what we're going to kind of do is just show you what they did in BOSS to build that big employee access form. And so all you do is basically we're going to come into our service catalog, and they've uploaded their image. They've labeled it the way they wanted. They've put any instructional information here for the end users that are going to fill it out. And then this is the visibility, where you'll notice where he was stating that accounting is the only one has access to their service catalog. That's right here where they could actually choose the accounting department. Because when we bring in our Active Directory users, we of course bring them in typically by department. Some people will bring them in by AD groups, but we can label that and choose who saw it. If you want any approvals at that time, they could have approvals from managers and approval boards, but they're not using that at that piece. And then how they did derive the ticket title is basically just using the placeholders of any of the custom fields that they built into their form. And so the form he took a picture of that he showed you in his presentation is right here. And so a lot of these fields are just drag and drop. So you grab one, you drag it over, and you drop it where it needs to go. And then you label it. So this field right here is the single line text field. So that's what he's using for the first name and the last name and all the email address. Now, of course, there could be a typo or something put in there. But typically when we're filling this stuff out, we try to be accurate. This is what he was referring to on the drop downs. So he can give a drop down list. whatever he wants to put into that drop-down list. It can be just a single drop-down list, or I believe they have a custom or a cascading drop-down list here. So if they choose laptop, that's when these would show right here. So those type things can be added in here at any time by simply dragging and dropping what they want. So to separate it out, they use the heading field and dragged it in here, and they put all the employee registration up towards the top here. And then any employee training information was put up underneath this header. And so you can get the gist of how they did all of that within this piece. The links that you were seeing were out of here and just inserting a hyperlink and labeling it how you wanted. So they did that with those fields there, and these are all your check boxes and other drop downs for those accesses to different softwares or accesses to different places, or what they're going to need to get going in their endeavors there at Holt. And if you scroll on down, this is where he's linking also to those different areas for different things for the company, and of course additional comments. And then if you wanted to add a task to this, if it was required that this always happened, you can use the task features out of this. They're not doing that at this time. So that's where the form derives from, but a lot of the routing rules were triggering their bot. And so what they were doing is going here into the templates section and creating customized emails that are going to go out. So when they're creating a routing rule or an SLA, they can say what email is actually going out. And so that employee access one is really simple. It had a lot of information in it, but it's only 4 placeholders to build that actual template that's going to their bot. And then of course they do a lot of work on the back end that we're not seeing with the bot to generate all the information in AD and different accounts and accesses that they're doing with that type stuff. So that is how Holt of California actually built their form and derived the emails that are going out into the section. And then in routing is where they're building all their different routes for their different selections. So they can say off the different form, go ahead and send a route, or they may be saying that off of one of those custom fields inside the form itself, they've added a condition, you know, that the ticket, the service request form field here, Holt to California, we can drive off of any of those selections if chosen within the form. So that's where they're coming up with the routing rules, their templates, and their service request to get their bots going, to basically make life a little easier on the tech, so they're not having to do everything and anything within the organization and being able to tend to other needs. And on that note, we're really a little ahead of schedule, but we've already had one question that's been sent in. And so, Gayle, I'm really actually going to present this question to you to answer, if you don't mind. But it's, have you been able to quantify the hour savings, and how did you decide where to start with developing bots?
Okay, so to answer the question, thank you, Chris. To answer the question, we originally, it was as simple as per employee, what does it take us to grant access to all the different applications that we have at Holt of California. And of course, it depends on what company you're working for, but for Holt of California, it's approximately 3 hours per employee. So 3 hours of our time to create all of those profiles and all those different sites. A lot of them are websites, a lot of them are, of course, our own local systems, but about 3 hours per employee is what we came up with. And if you got really quick, you might be able to cut that down an hour, but it was about 3 hours. In regards to the bot development, well, we're about 40 bots in right now. So I was lucky to be one of the first to be out of the gate with the development of the bots. We are using Accenture to do those bots for us, and that process has actually become quite simple. It's just we started out with the idea is to eliminate all the provisioning, the deprovisioning, and by the way, Kyle didn't mention, but we also have a deprovisioning process where the deprovisioning the ticket, so the HR department sends in an employee leaving the company, the termination automatically creates the ticket, which automatically puts the entry into a mailbox that the bot is reading, and then the bot goes out and deprovisions all of the provisioning. So that way you're guaranteed that somebody is literally unraveled and pulled from your systems when they walk out the door. So that's working really well too. But the bot part is pretty much a combination of just starting out with a conversation, determining on, everybody agreeing on cost, and then moving forward with a deep dive. It's pretty much one phone call to do a deep dive, and then at that point the development starts. And it can be anywhere from, I'm going to say, 2 to 3 weeks up to maybe 3 months, depending on how sophisticated the bot is. This particular bot, very easy to do the pre-employment, very easy to do the first wave of the provisioning, because we basically outlined it as into what was the most critical to what was the least critical. And so we picked the most critical, and the provisioning bot 1 was done in a fairly short period of time. That would be your Active Directories, and some other systems that we have. And then all the other systems we had is coming in a second provisioning bot. Hopefully that answered the question.
Yes, I believe it did. Thank you very much. There is another one after that, and it says the bots are they done in-house, or is that an option from Boss? And as she stated, was it Accenture? Is that who it was, Gayle?
Yes, it was Accenture. Yeah, no, that is that's our choice of vendor to develop bots for us.
All right, thank you. And so that answers that question. So then we'll move on to a couple other questions that we already had sitting here for Miss Gayle to answer. So how have your users adapted to the changes, and are there plans to expand more across the various departments, which we saw in the accounting? That is one thing that is happening.
So this is a culture change. Initially, I think people tend to like to call in to the phone instead of using the help desk. So we have spent several years, working with our users, trying to get them to utilize the help desk. We did something quite interesting recently. So it is a process, but recently we're doing something as simple as trying to get them to use our new Fix-It ticket, which is starts off with a mobile app that opens a ticket up automatically for them. And we're doing that by saying the first 10 users that use the system, we're giving them a hat. So we're trying some unique things, but the goal here is to try to get most all of the help desk service requests to come through the help desk system, and to have fewer phone calls and walk-ins. And right now we're extremely interested in trying to reduce the number of walk-ins, and we have an extremely new idea for that, which we haven't implemented yet. But the walk-ins is important because we're trying to keep anyone from coming in physically into the department for for what we're all up against right now, and we're all sharing together. So we have some new ideas in utilizing the help desk for that purpose. But yeah, the users are adapting to it very well.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that one. And then this is going to be your show right now, Gayle. The questions are all going to come to you, it looks like. But how has Boss Support Central benefited your company, Holt of California, in increasing its productivity?
So that one is a good one, because over time, all of a sudden, you just had a help desk system, and it was all about getting users, from using the phone and walking in. Since then, I'm now working more on the side of what kind of metrics can we get out of this system. And so we've spent the last year reevaluating how all of our tickets are set up so that we can collect the proper metrics, so that we can get a scorecard, and we can determine whether or not we're touching that ticket within 15 minutes. So we have this new goal right now where we want to touch the ticket in 15 minutes, and so that the person putting the ticket in knows that we're responding to it. So we are able to get those metrics out of this system. It has been very positive. We have dashboarding, we have the metrics, we're utilizing the FAQs, and we are also gathering statistics from this system in order to tell us where our weak points are, where somebody might need to get more training. And the last thing that has been a big winner for us is that we have an outside service that takes care of 208 printers total for our entire company. And when any printer issue, which a printer is very important to everybody, so the paper's still all around us, that ticket automatically goes to our vendor. So we're not a middleman anymore for a lot of our products that are being outsourced. So it goes directly to the vendor, and that's been a huge winner for us. And I believe that the company's that's been a valuable asset.
I'd also like to add on to that. So Gayle mentioned the responding to the ticket in 15 minutes. A big part of that has been the help with BOSS, because we are able to set up SLA rules that if a ticket's been sitting out there for such amount of time, we get email notifications. We have that set up for the fix-it ticket that if this ticket has been sitting out there for more than 5 minutes unassigned, we not only get an email, we also have it set to text our phone, so everyone in the apartment gets this notification that, hey, 5 minutes have gone by since this ticket's been put in, need to jump on it ASAP. And then it kind of actually gets everyone talking. I'm like, okay, who's free? Who can take care of it right now? Because a lot of these tickets are guys out in the fields who need this fixed ASAP because they're on a customer's job. So yeah, this really helped everyone in the company.
And I'm going to throw my own question into both of you here. It sounds like to me that the email is the big driving piece here. So it emails the bot, it emails the vendor, it emails here, and that's where your ticket's generated from. It's not really a lot of design integration within like using APIs or anything like that. It's more email driven. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
So anyone can pretty much do that as long as you have the other integrations on the other end of it, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, and in fact, just to kind of add on to that, where the email notification goes into as a text file into an email box, and the bot actually logs on to the email through our web portal. So we provide them with a profile, a service profile that is for the mailbox, and then they log in, and you can use rules in there so that when a ticket goes in, it is sitting in the box waiting to be processed. The bot processes it, and then it takes the email and it puts it into an archive folder so that at any one point in time you can go out there and tell whether or not it's actually processing things. So if you're looking for some sort of an audit trail, because when you get these automations in, somebody might have to follow around and just make sure things are being done from time to time. That has been very helpful. So yeah, it's been very seamless in that regard. I'm not sure an API would do any better, other than an API obviously is just a direct connect and pulling something in and out quite quickly with a program, but the bot for us has been able to do it with a mailbox.
Excellent. And I knew you were going to get a question on this one when you mentioned your fix-it one, but somebody asked about your field techs could scan a barcode and a ticket was created. And they were asking if you could speak to that and how you have that actually set up.
Kyle, you want to do that? Okay, great.
Yeah, I'll take this one. So one of my coworkers, Rick Jameson, he had this brilliant idea to develop an app for our field guys so that they can quickly submit a ticket and it quickly gets response. Because as Gayle's mentioned, we're trying to tone down the phone calls, tone down the walk-ins, so that we have they use the help desk, so we have a paper trail of all of our problems. Because if somebody calls the help desk, that's not really getting accounted for. But so the process of starting this is when we went to our app developer, told him what the plan was, what we would like to do. He gave us suggestions, and we discussed what the best solution for that was, and then it came up with the barcode. So we worked with the company who creates barcodes. We got a couple hundred barcodes, and we set out to get a barcode on every one of our field mechanics computers. So we actually gave this project to a couple of our interns. They basically mailed the barcode with a set of instructions of how to apply it to their laptop unit, which a rugged unit, and then once they had the barcode on the rugged, it's also instructions on how to download the app, how to use it, We made the app as simple as possible, where they load up the app, they press a button for a new ticket, it then prompts them to scan their barcode. It tells them what to look for and all that, so they scan the barcode, and then the next option is then just a big description field. Nothing else. We didn't want to give them something that they had to spend a couple minutes filling out. It's just, hey, I need help, and then maybe a quick description of what the problem is. So now, and then they hit send, and it uses, it sends that information through an email to our ticket email address, which then creates a ticket in Boss. So that ticket gets created in. We have a routing rule that looks for specific information, such as the subject line, which is automatically created. So the employee doesn't make the subject line, the app does. So then Boss looks for that subject line, goes, hey, this is a fix-it ticket, and then gives it the appropriate categories and all that information that we need to know that this is a fix-it ticket, needs to get taken care of pronto.
Excellent. All right. And I think we might have, we already discussed your bots and the integration, so you've given us an answer on that question already. And you gave us a question and answer on this one. I'm trying to field through these real quick. Well, I guess the last one would be, how has Boss, as a vendor, supported and helped you in your initiatives?
So I'll start off, and then maybe Kyle, you want to add to this. But Boss has been, well, we've been working with Boss for a long time too. We have a great relationship. We have, I mean, I'm telling you, this is one company that you call them up and they're there to answer the call. You know, and you ask them for an enhancement, they say, well, we'll evaluate, look at it, see if it's on the list, tell us where it's at. You know, if it's a good idea, they'll put it on the list. And they've just been very willing to listen to all of our needs and provide us with the enhancements that we need going forward. And it's so, you know, I tell you, I work with a lot of companies. This is one company, I almost feel like they're like family. And that's so important anymore, because I feel like there are companies I'm starting to feel like I'm not family with anymore. So all I can say is that they've been a great partner to work with in regards to the help desk. It has been a journey, because there was a time where, you know, just a clunky old help desk system worked, and they realized that was okay back in 2004. But in 2019, it's like, oh, we've got a whole new world here, and we've got to be flexible and the ability to integrate and all this other. And they have been so great in developing a system that it works perfectly in today's environment. And I see them being a great opportunity for us to continue on with a long-term relationship. So, good product.
Yeah, and I'll add on to that. So as Gayle mentioned, we switched over to Support Central back in early 2019. I actually was the one that headed that project. I was given the keys to move us over from the old system to the new one, and Chris was with me every step of the way, answering any questions, anything I needed at basically almost a drop of a hat. He was that quick at a response. It took us a good couple months to get moved over, but when we moved over, we were basically set. And then ever since then, any kind of change or upgrade, Chris is there to make sure at least I understood what the upgrade was, so then I can pass it off to my team of, hey, this is the newest change. Here's how to use it. Any question, just about any time of day, he's, you know, quick to a response. There's been a few times where I don't really know how to phrase a question, and I've asked him to hop on a quick Zoom meeting to quickly go over something, and he just sends me the Zoom link. We hop in, I explain to him what's going on, and we usually have a fix within a few minutes of that. And so for me, being new to kind of setting up a help desk system and going through that process, having Boss there as support was great, and it's been good ever since.
Oh, excellent. Thanks for the accolades, and thanks for being a great customer along the way, always, because like you heard, yes, I've been working with you guys for a long time, and definitely enjoy working with you because it's always a pleasure. So on that note, doesn't look like we have any more questions, so I really want to thank you both for your time, but I'm going to turn it back over to Miss Julie, and she'll take it from here.
All right, sounds good. And now we're getting on to the gift card drawing. So give me a minute here. And the lucky winner is Alan Ramsey with Wagner Equipment. Does that sound right? Alan Ramsey, Wagner Equipment. You're the lucky one today. And thank you so much, Gayle and Kyle, for such great information, and Chris. And we also have your surveys. Please fill out your surveys and have a wonderful day. If you have any other questions, let us know. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.